Hello, and welcome to a very bittersweet pedal of the day. Sweet because we've just finished a project that's been 3 years in the making, and bitter because a month ago we lost one of the greatest exponents of electric guitar who's ever lived in the amazing Jeff Beck. And the two things are very closely linked. We were very, very fortunate as a company that Jeff used some of our pedals through the years. The Mark I tone bender and the Yardbirds and the Power Boost for the Jeff Beck band, and then later the Octavider, and most famously our Overdrive pedal. We're enormously grateful and just feel very privileged to be linked with such amazing music making, and to be part of that sound is an amazing thing. So thank you. The pedal today is well, it's crazy, really. I mean, it's just a crazy story, and it comes off the back. I don't know if any of you watched the Octavider video we did, which mentioned the fact that a guy brought some pedals into my shop, and they turned out to be, or one of them turned out to be Jeff Beck's Octavider that he used on the tour, sort of circa Wired album. And the sharp-eared of you would have noticed that in that video I said the guy brought in a bag of pedals and one of them was the Octavider. Well, the one I was sort of sworn to secrecy about was another pedal, and I also had Jeff Beck's Overdriver from that period. There are pictures of him on stage, and you can clearly see this Octavider and Overdriver, and through a little bit of research, it wasn't that difficult. We've come to realise the actual ones we had in our possession are those actual pedals. So what happened when we got them, they weren't working. The Overdriver went to Dave Main to have a look at, and he said, well, there's lots of weird gubbins in here. We'll probably maybe just if we're going to make a replica of it, if we just bypass all that stuff and strip it back to its original form, we'll have probably what's like a 73 Overdriver. But then a few months later, he rang me and said, actually, no, this isn't normal at all. There's something really nuts going on in here. I mean, there's an inductor on the input, and that's sort of flanked by two filtering capacitors. It's taken a lot of the top end out. It's all mid. It's much higher gain. He said, this isn't normal stuff. He said, this is witchcraft. This is the work of an evil genius. Whoever's done this is a very clever guy. And he said, that's just the bit you can see. When you take the board out, there's loads of other weirdness going on behind it. This doesn't sound normal. He said, if I were to say anything, it sounds a bit more like a rat. I mean, which, you know, is very interesting, because after this, Jeff Beck went on to use a rat, and that's, well, that's another story, but we'll do that another time. But I personally find that quite an interesting development. So anyway, we got to work replicating this pedal component-wise and sonically. And then we had a few very unusual strokes of luck. So last year we got round to making Mark I tone benders again. And apologies if you've heard this in a previous video, but we were 5 cases short, 5 bass cases short. And being us, we didn't just spray up some bass cases. We went and researched the paint we originally used. We found some, and you have to buy it in quite big quantities, enough to do like 200 pedals. We only had to paint 5, so we painted the 5 up, and we had a big pot of paint left over. And we thought, well, what are we going to do with that? We thought, well, I'll tell you what, why don't we do some Overdriver cases and a few tone bender cases, some one knob fuzz cases. Anyway, the result was phenomenal, because any of you well, I'm sure some of you are Jeff Beck fans, and you would have seen that interview he did many years ago where he's got the Overdriver on the floor and the Crybaby. And it's, I mean, if it isn't the inspiration for the vintage guitar scene in Spinal Tap, I don't know what is, where Jeff's going, yeah, you click this, it's quiet, then you click it and it goes loud. And the interviewer's going, oh, really? So it's a sort of a soft, loud switch. He said, yeah, soft, click. I mean, you're just waiting for him to say, you know, and, you know, it goes up to 11. I mean, it's just, it is fantastic. But there's some brilliant close-ups of his Overdriver on that. And if you look at it, you'll see that the paint is just like this. It's a very, very flat black hammer, which we've never achieved before on a normal, well, well, not for 30, 40 years, on a regular thin case pedal. So it came out looking just like that pedal in that video. I mean, it's gorgeous. I mean, it's just beautiful Overdriver. We're so chuffed with it. So that was the first thing that happened. Then some real weirdness started to happen. David ordered these switches, and I believe a different switch arrived, but it was the exact same switch that was in the original Jeff Beck pedal. So suddenly we had 100 of these totally original 70s switches, which were the identical switch to what's in the original. Lovely touch, you know, really nice thing when you're making a replica pedal. You know, any switch switches it on and off, but this, you've got the exact switch in there. Then Dave rings me another day and says, and the capacitors have arrived. And I've gone, oh, amazing, good, well, we can get on with that then. He said, yeah, but this is so strange, I didn't order these. He said, what do you mean? I said, what do you mean? He said, oh no, he said they're the right capacitors, but they've all got the letters JB on them. I mean, how bloody uncanny is that? I mean, just, I don't know. It's like the Twilight Zone. So here we have the prototype of the pedal that I like to call the rewired Overdriver. Inside, it looks quite different to a normal Overdriver circuit. And I don't want to give you close-ups and give too much away at the moment because I don't think it's right. Every one of these that we make, we will put a hologram inside it, so somebody can't just get a normal Overdriver and fake it and make it look like this very special pedal. It's going to be a very exclusive thing, and it's a real special Overdriver. And this is the prototype. Dave now gives me tasting notes, and what he said about this was, tasting notes. Riding the crest of an apocalyptic event tsunami whilst drinking lukewarm green label Jim Beam after smoking Hemingway's cigar stubs. Okay. Well, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like riding the crest of an apocalypse event tsunami whilst drinking lukewarm green label Jim Beam after smoking Hemingway's cigar stubs. I think that's all I need to say, really. I'm sure you don't need to hear it after that. No, I have heard it. It's the loudest pedal I think I've ever encountered. It's got a tone totally of its own. And I have a very, very weird feeling about it. I almost feel that I'm not qualified to play or demo this pedal. It's a weird feeling. So what I'm going to do, for anyone else who feels like that watching this, I'm going to finish the video in a minute and walk away. And then I'll come back and play it. And all of you who don't want to hear it can just pretend that was the beginning. And the rest of you, you'll be like the hardcore fans at the end of a gig who've stayed when the lights have gone up and then suddenly they've gone down again and the band have come back on. And I know in advance I cannot do it justice, but at least we'll have a play with it. So there's going to be, first run will be 50 for the world. I don't know if there'll be a second run, but I'm not going to say there isn't. And the reason for that isn't actually greed. It is the fact that I feel this pedal needs to go to Jeff Beck fans and people who really love this sound. And I just don't want to open the market up to people who just buy our pedals and double the price and put them online. Of course, I can't stop people doing that. I can say, look, there's just one pedal per customer, but once someone buys something, it's up to them what they do with it. They can sell it for £5 and sell it for £1 million. It's up to them. I can't stop that. But what I would say with this pedal, I would implore you not to do it. You would be like a ticket tout outside your favourite gig if you do that. So I'd really, really want this to go to guitar players and fans of this sound. So just this one. Please don't flip it. Is there anything else I need to say? So this is the one Dave Bain likes to call the super gain. I like to call it the rewired Overdriver. Thank you, and thank you, Jeff Beck. Have they gone? The lightweights. Let's have a quick listen. I actually feel like I'm intruding on my own pedal. So, first of all, it is the loudest pedal I've ever experienced, but what a sound. There's a few totally astonishing things about it. The first one is the cleanup, which is down to 8, down to 6, down to 4. Astonishing. So the other thing I didn't expect was the massive boost on the treble control. So, you know, any power boost or overdriver has massive tonal scope, but this again is astonishing. You go. I mean, insane. So, not so much bass boost, but the treble boost is just absolutely out of this world. just an amazing pedal. I mean, a regular Overdriver is an amazing pedal. This really is a bit special. So, yeah, well, thanks for watching it. I hope you like it. And it'll sound even better when you play it, believe me. So, rock and roll. See you next time.